Hello, thanks for checking out this video. The theme of my video today is religious freedom, and it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I've been rethinking a lot of my older views and trying to develop more nuanced takes on certain things. And I haven't been able to form a hard opinion on some things yet, but I've been thinking about something, and I think something that I've realized lately upon reflecting about a lot of things is, I try not to be a hypocrite, right? And I am someone who believes in freedom. So I think about a tolerant and a free and an open society, and what that would look like, or how it could be, and how much we should be how to, there are problems or challenges, I should say, that comes with multicultural societies. So I've just been thinking about something. I've also been thinking about religion in the context of like Marxist-Leninist states and Cuba, for example. I have a friend who is an evangelical Christian, and we've been talking, and he is, extremely critical of Cuba, and he's always talking about how they're basically evil because, or how he just hates them because they persecute evangelical Christians. And I've been, researching Cuba, and people can have religion in Cuba, but they have to register with the government and stuff. So it's a interesting situation there. I don't really know what to say. But overall, I was thinking about, also societies and being open, but to what degree should we tolerate the intolerant, and so on and so on. And so what I've come to the realization is that I believe in spiritual freedom and general freedom of expression. People should be free, but I don't necessarily believe in freedom of religion. And there's a nuance there, and I think it all comes down to like the limits of some semantics and stuff, because for a lot of people, religion and spirituality are synonyms. They're one and the same. If you're not religious, you can't be spiritual, or if you're not religious, you don't believe in God and things, which that's not the case, actually, right? And religion for me is actually a synonym for government. Religion is the institutional, formalized version of a cult that has grown in scale, basically. I've also been watching a lot of predictive history lectures by Professor Jiang, which are excellent. I mean, if you haven't, he's kind of gone viral, so if you haven't heard of him by now, you should check out Predictive History. And then reading a lot of the books that are on his reading list, a lot of which I've already read, actually, and then some other stuff. And that got me into reading about Foundation, a science fiction book, one of the best ever, by Isaac Asimov, and I love it. It's I wish I'd gotten into this years ago. It talks a lot about social engineering and religion and stuff, and religion itself is a form of, it's for social engineering. It's my opinion that Christianity was developed for many reasons, and one of them to pacify aggressive, warlike Northern Europeans who were very barbaric at the time, basically, and it worked pretty well, I would say. If you look at the Vikings, how they used to be, and then you look at Europeans after Christianity, it definitely settled people down a lot, which is a good thing. But institutional religion is a type of government. It's about social hierarchy and social control, and it's fundamentally, when it comes to the Abrahamic religions like Christianity and Islam, they're problematic to some. They can be problematic to someone like me who has humanist values, because ultimately, what I would prefer is a state or a country or a society is what I should say, sorry. A civilization / society that is founded upon certain humanist principles that come first and foremost before capitalism or markets or anything else like that. And it's a society would be a society that is based on freedom for all, but it's also a group, and things should be run collectively, but also democratically, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, I forgot where I was going here with this. One of my critiques of Marxism, or I should say, like, one of the reasons I was always so put off of Marxism is because it is firmly rooted in atheism. And now, as an older person, I have some nuanced views on materialism and politically, and why that's a thing. But I personally am not a materialist, right? And I'm not religious either, but I do understand that the human condition is such that people need spirituality. And so state enforced atheism is a bad thing, and you can never outlaw spirituality. Like, I can pray whenever I want because I can just in my head talk directly to God or whatever I perceive as a higher power. So you can never outlaw spirituality because you can never enforce something like that. You can never stop people from praying, but you can stop like dogmatic behavior. And I think that religion in general, I don't think that it should be an excuse for certain privileges. Like for example, here in Canada, if you're a Sikh, they have these ceremonial daggers that they carry around. I believe they're called kirpals. I'm not sure. I forgot to check, but it's for most purposes it's ceremonial and it is part of their religion. But at the same time, it's a fucking knife, right? And I don't like the idea of being in a society where because I don't subscribe to a particular faith-based religion, I don't have a weapon on me, and I don't want to be on a bus or in a room really where like that's like this is where like religion should. Comes into same like we're gonna talk about. I could talk about France and hijab bans and stuff too, but let's keep it like in this case with the Sikh situation. Like I don't think that religion should trump like certain laws of the government. If the government is run by the people and for the people, ideally, and it's based on like certain freedom and humanitarian values, your religious beliefs, if they violate that in some way, like you should be able to have a weapon when everyone else doesn't. Like it doesn't really work. So while I understand that you can't outright ban religion, in the case of America, I don't even think that people should be obligated to necessarily. Actually, I'll keep it. I won't go down that rabbit hole. But put it this way: like I think that like you should definitely be allowed to express your religious beliefs, but if you're a country like Cuba and you're trying to start like a church, which isn't going to be an institution that becomes like a political issue, like I have no problem with Cuba wanting those people to register their religion, for example. So same thing with like I don't think that if a religion has a tradition where and I understand that tradition and religion and identity all go together. So for a lot of people, like if their identity is wrapped up in being a Sikh, and being a Sikh, part of the tradition is that they have this knife, then blah blah blah. But I still don't think that like religions, when push comes to shove, have to update themselves to accommodate the larger society that they are going to be into, in my opinion. So I just think that those, for example, in this case, religious freedom doesn't mean that you should be allowed to carry around a dagger because your particular religion says you can. And this is especially true for Christianity. I don't think that everything needs to be tolerated in terms of like accommodating certain religious beliefs if they validate more fundamental principles of equality, basically. Oh, yeah, I now remember one of the things when I got off track earlier. I fundamentally view all human beings as equal, like regardless of race or gender or sex. So like when I believe in freedom, I believe that society I don't believe in barbarism or anarchism like that. I believe a truly advanced society based on freedom would be set up on a more evolved anarchistic model where everyone is able to be to be autonomous. They're free to be who they truly are because their basic needs are met, and society is peaceful, and people can just express who they really are. And so in that sense, I definitely believe in equality between the genders. And if the economy, for example, is set up in a way that like freedom is relative, right? Like if the economy is set up in a certain way where most women have to be dependent on a partner for economic reasons, they're not really free, right? Like when I talk about freedom, I'm talking about people being able to be autonomous and who they are and be authentic and all that. That's the value system that I'm talking about. So people need spirituality. The human condition is such that like materialism is not a solution, or materialist atheism is not going to be a solution to anything. We need a positive spirituality though, and I think because religions are mostly political institutions, they bring a lot of toxicity with them. So an open and free society is not necessarily obligated to tolerate all aspects of religion, or to even necessarily be completely tolerant of religion in general. Because religion is it brings with it a whole set of political issues. And that's not the same thing as like this type of spirituality that I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm looking for feedback on this from people who are freedom lovers and so on, and both secular and I guess religious if you want, because I want freedom isn't, it's obviously we all perceive freedom differently and what we mean by that. And I am curious to see like what do people think, and how do you feel about my view that I believe in freedom of spirituality, but not freedom necessarily of religion. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.